What's going on? Welcome back to When the Ball Stops Bouncing. I have a special guest here today, former athlete. I actually played at a spot near and dear to anybody that's from Baltimore. What's good about Mount Royal. That's where the real hoopers played at. Mindset coach, TV personality, just to name a few. Winter Games, Bachelor in Paradise, radio host, podcast host, talks, bigger talks, author, mentor. I say Mr. Seen It All, Done It All. Eric Bigger, man, I appreciate you for joining the show, man. How you doing today?
Oh man, I'm phenomenal, man. Thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here. Another day to just live, be, and evolve. From a place of love and transformation.
Absolutely, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. So I know I did my best on the intro, but for those who don't know who Eric Bigger is, man, how would you describe yourself? How would you introduce yourself to the world?
Oh man, Eric Bigger is a young man from Baltimore City. Who's driven, who's ambitious, who's curious about life, who's willing to evolve and shed light on the people who need it, and who's open to change. I think life is about several different levels and phases of yourself. And once you get to a place where you understand the things you thought you want, that you didn't really want them or you don't need them as much, I feel like you can start living life, because as a young man, you see TV, you see things, and then you get them and then you accomplish them and you're like, oh, nothing is what it seems. So I tell people, stay curious, be curious, do what you can, not what you can't. Learn yourself, because the hardest work we'll ever do in life is on ourselves. So I'm just a guy of just life of just self-discovery each and every year, trying to become better on myself, for myself and others. So I'm happy to be here.
So what you just said was obviously way more mature than a lot of people that grew up where we grew up from, man. And that's not a bad thing. It's actually a great thing. So it's like when you think about self-discovery and curiosity, where does that come from? Is that did it start with sports? Did it start with life? How did you become so curious?
Well, thank God for basketball, right? Mount Royal Eagles. Shouts out to Coach Corritt, my guy, Team Mello, Malcolm Delaney.
Yes, sir.
All those guys. Jeremy Robinson, one of my best friends. And I think. That's not a thing. What I know is, as a kid, growing up in the inner city, West Baltimore, you either sell dope or you play a sport. Granted, I was decent enough to play on some good teams. I wasn't the best player, but I was a captain on most of my teams. I was driven. I had work ethic. But in the neighborhood I grew up in, the men that was running it were my family members. They were kingpins. And I knew in life, I always wanted to go pro and ball. And I knew there was something more than life than just playing basketball and selling drugs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was just, I was always curious, like, it has to be something more than life than just Baltimore City. There has to be. So I think that at 15, 14, I think that's when my curiosity kicked in. I saw the men in my family and close friends, going to jail for a long time, being incarcerated, some of them getting murdered. And I was like, this just can't be life. And then from there, as I evolved, I went to high school, and I went to Howard Community College for junior college and played 2 years. And then I transferred at Hampton. I walked on. I was only there for a few months, and I quit. I had like 80 credits going into Hampton. I was on the team, and then I was like, it was too many politics. I wasn't in love with it. So I started getting involved in school, and I think that's when my personality and my persona outside of basketball grew. I still play intramurals. We won. I was the man or whatever. Started my own organization, Brothers Within, Hampton Men. I was a student leader, and I was a co-host of a radio show at Hampton.
Wow.
So it was like all these things was opening up outside of basketball, but basketball was my identity for so long. That's all I do. But I also was a nerd, and I always got good grades in school. So I had pride about excelling in the classroom. So I just wasn't a ball player who could play. Also was like excelling in the classroom. And I just think as I got older, my mind expanded. I was growing, and I was curious. When I got to LA after college, I'm graduating magna cum laude with honors. I think I'm the man. You can't tell me nothing. I had a government job at the Census Bureau in DC. I didn't like that. I said, I'm going to LA. I'm gonna do it big. Oh baby, I got here and I got humbled real quick.
Different place.
LA don't care about nothing you accomplished. Don't care about Baltimore, who you know, where you been.
Nah.
And it forced me to learn, and it forced me to grow. And that's when the moment when I got here, probably 6 months in, I'm like, I gotta go pro in life, man.
Right.
Basketball dreams deflated. That ain't it. You ain't make it, bro.
Yeah.
And that's where it all started, from the Think and Grow Rich to the Bob Proctors, to the Tony Robbins, to the Secret, as a man thinketh, and so forth and so on. And just being a curious soul has got me in different, rooms with people and different TV shows and different opportunities and willing to do the work of self discovery. And that's how it all started, man.
So that's a big change, right? You just named, I mean, obviously Baltimore, moving over to DC. I mean, that's where that's uppity, right? It's like, all right,
Yeah.
cool. I made it from Baltimore, I made it to DC. But then you made that pivot, right? From the VA, DC area over to LA.
Yeah.
Coming over to LA from DC, just talk a little bit about that experience. I know you said that, everyone here is so successful.
Yeah. So I think what was happening more so than the experience, it was a culture shock, right? First, let's talk about
Hmm.
Baltimore. So Baltimore, we know what Baltimore is. Inner city, everyone knows the wire, people listening. It's tough,
Yep.
it's challenging. You even sell drugs, you play a sport. All the pretty girls even date the dope boys or the football players. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yep. Yep.
you gotta
Yep.
find your lane. But I think what changed from going to Baltimore, first of all, I went from Baltimore to junior college in Columbia, Maryland, Howard Community College, Howard
Yep.
County. So that was predominantly white school. So I was around people with
Night and
money,
day.
but I excelled in sports. Defensive player of the year on the basketball team. I was a captain both years. I did well, academic, all American athletic, whatever. Boom. So then I go to Hampton where I transfer. Now I'm around uppity black people with money.
Yep.
I was
Yep.
dating a girl where her mom was paying for her tuition out of her pocket. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah.
Hampton,
Easy.
like 20,000 a year. Private
Yep.
institute. Shouts out to Barack
Hmm.
Obama. He spoke at my graduation. And Dr. Harvey, who was a Republican, black, president of the school at the time. But anyway, so that was a culture shock being around black people who had class and who had money. And these girls and people
Hmm.
were from like Bow County, PG, Upper
Yep.
Marlboro, Silver Spring, DC. So that was kind of like, oh wow, like there's black people out here, the black excellence. Okay, people got money. They come from
They
family.
really doing it.
Yeah, they doing it. But coming from the city of Baltimore, you don't see that. It's either just mom in the crib by herself, and dad is never around, at least where I'm from. And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
figure it out, right? And you play ball, and you play ball to make it. Not that you don't play ball to experience it, you play ball to make it. So if you don't make that, it's even you go to the streets, you're trying to sell some dope or whatever. So boom, come to LA, and like, all right, yeah, I had $1,000 to my name. I knew one person. I booked a one-way flight. I graduated from Hampton, May 9th, 2010. I had a graduation party June 5th, 2010. I hopped on a plane June 12th, 2010. I had $1,000 and I left and I never came back.
Yeah.
And you talking about, how you get like contacts from like people in your family that you barely talk to? They're like, oh, my
Yeah.
friend is out there, like use this. But I literally used every phone number that I got from people back home that were family and acquaintance and friends of family, people I never talked to, and their numbers worked more than the family members that you were close to.
That's
So
wild.
I was resourceful, right? And it was getting
Yeah.
me in spaces, and I met some people. And so when I first got out here, I was really living the high life because I was around some guys getting a lot of money. Like
Yep.
they was at the club every week. They was at the Flyers restaurants. They lived in the Flyers penthouse. And these cats happened to be, from Baltimore some way, somehow. And that was an experience that changed my life because what happened was, and this is why I want to talk about energy. These guys that are around, like they were like my big homies. But I
Yep.
was under the impression they had their own music label. They was in real estate. They owned businesses back in Baltimore. But kind of find out they was moving endless weight.
Yeah. They was hustling. They was just
On
hustling.
private jets.
That's it.
Right. Like, but they was living the life. But in my mind, I'm like, how do I keep attracting dope boys and drug dealers? Like
Yeah.
this
No
is,
matter where I go.
yeah. And I was like, it must be on my and in my vibration, i.e. my family, right? Or the
I like
environment I
that.
grew up
Yeah.
in. So how do I
I
keep
like that.
attracting this? Because like I always grew up around men that had money. They just got it
Right.
illegally.
Right.
So having that 7-month experience was amazing because I was out at the highest nightclubs. I built the right relationships. So after that, I never paid to get in a club. I need a girl
Yeah.
at the door. Hey, Sarah, what's up? What's going on? Come on, E. You can
Hmm.
come in. Or I need a trainer who trained all the celebrities. So I started getting in with him and meeting people, and he was putting me. It's like I use all my resources to get in spaces and places you would never think. And in some spaces, people thought I lived in these buildings where I was training and meeting people.
You
So
always
I
around.
was around, and I knew how to build relationships and rapport. And from there, man, I did what I had to do. You know, I did the background acting. Um, I did everything. I worked at Chic Shoes, it was an urban sneaker store where I was a salesman.
Yep.
And at that time, I was at the Beverly Center making, I think it was like 7.25 an hour. Mind you, for college degree, I was making like maybe 16 or maybe 22 an hour at the Census Bureau. You know,
Hmm.
it was humbling.
And it's way more expensive here than it is in DC.
Yeah, way more expensive. So it wasn't until I started opening up them books, like 7 months at the job. I think it's like July 2011. I think I started tapping into like Think and Grow Rich, right? The
Yep.
Secret. And I started applying the principles. And then little do you know, I started making commission on the sales at the sneaker store, right? Never did that before. And I got a new job at Abercrombie and Fitch. I attracted somebody who was on
Yep.
recruiting. They was recruiting the Beverly Center. They recruited me. Boom, I became an assistant manager. Oh man, I got a new
Wow.
job. Bro,
Right.
I
Right.
had booked a commercial, Jenny O turkey burger doing background. I made
Yep.
15,000
Yep.
doing that. So I'm like, but
Sheesh.
I was doing all the principles I was learning in these books. And this is the thing I want to teach people and tell people, like, it was great. I was living it. I was enjoying it, but I stopped. Once I got to a place, I stopped doing the work. Because I'm like, oh, I got benefits at Abercrombie and
It's
Fitch.
working. I figured it
Yeah,
out.
I'm an
Yeah.
assistant manager. My checks was like 1,100 every 2 weeks. That's way more than I could
Yep.
ever
Yep.
make. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like,
It's more than I came
I
out here
bought me a
with. It's
whip.
more than I came out here
I
with.
bought me a whip. I got all these checks in the mail from talent partners from
Yep.
this commercial. I'm on a high. This time I'm 23,
I'm good.
24. And then it was like, but the thing about me, bro, I was always about more and I want to level up. So in that process, I think I did Abercrombie and Fitch like 18 months. But 12 months in, I had this intuition, listening to Bob Proctor. I wanted to create a
Yep.
mobile app. And the mobile app was Eric Bigger, Successful Living. Mind you, I'm 24, bro. I had a little bit of money, but it was only 1,500 to get the apps. And at the time, apps wasn't big in 2012, you know?
No, not at all.
So I followed my intuition. I said, when I develop this app, I'm going to quit my job. Bro, I quit the job. And then I had this app out and I had no marketability. I didn't know what I was doing, but yet I have an app. And I was doing boot camps prior to quitting. I was doing it for free in North Hollywood for like 2 years. I started training, charging like 50 an
Yep.
hour as a trainer. I didn't have a certification, just out here just hustling,
Just trying to make
trying to
ends
figure
meet.
it out, bro. And I hit a wall. I hit a wall. You know what I'm saying? Like I stopped working at Abercrombie. I get into training. I'm like maybe 5, 6 months in, and then the client's like, "Oh, I don't want to train no more." I'm like, "Yo, I'm gonna make money."
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had like a
Yeah.
little bit of
So
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So let's stay with that right there, right? So you're on the high life. You've seen a lot of LA. You call it curiosity. I'm calling it exposure,
Yeah.
right? I'm hearing exposure, right? Because you got the exposure of, okay, this is what goes on over here.
Yeah.
Penthouse, nicest building in LA.
Hmm.
This is what goes on over there. All right. So now your curiosity has grown and you said, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the people that I'm around. I'm looking internally,
Yeah.
right? I'm doing self-development. I'm introspect, and I'm saying I have the ability to do this. Right. What I came from is a lot harder than what I'm living in right now.
Yeah.
So now you're starting to see a little bit of success because of the work that you're doing. And you're saying, hey, I'm going to stop doing the work.
Yeah.
But what would you tell somebody that's, they may not be 24, they might be 54 and they're doing the work and they got this great idea and they're saying, hey, look, I can make it off of this. Does it make sense to quit the job and bet on yourself? Or does it make sense to use that as an investor? What would you tell yourself or that person today?
I would say you gotta tap in with higher source. You gotta trust yourself because I took the leap, bro. Like I took the leap to leave my job. Good money at the time,
Mm-hmm.
24. I didn't really like it. I wasn't in love with it, you know.
Yep.
But it's paying the bills. I got more than enough money. I got a car. I can go out, spend a little money, but wasn't happy. And so I knew I had to jump. And I was like, man, look, I love training. People always say, man, I think you should be a trainer. You should be a trainer. I was just kind of, I did a friend like boot camps and ad
Yeah.
classes, but I was like, you know what? And then once my rapport built in the community that I can be a trainer, I just went for it. And then I hit rock bottom. I went back to Abercrombie. Went back to
Oh,
Abercrombie
wow.
as a model. How humbling that was. That's what people don't know.
Yeah.
Went back as a
Yeah.
model. I went to a nightclub where I was a door guy. And then on top of that, I was a door guy, and I probably had like maybe one or two clients, and my clients had dropped off,
Yeah.
and I was just trying to figure it out. And then like 8 months into the club job, I stopped the Amazon. I can't keep doing this. I'll keep folding shirts, $8 an hour. Like, man, I'm good.
Yeah, it don't make sense.
So
Yeah,
once
it
I
don't
got
make
that
sense.
second job and still was training, and then like 8 months into the door guy job, hopped into Uber. You know what I mean? Like I just always was
Mm,
on to the next thing, and it's like, yo, I was willing to do what it took to get where I wanted to go. I just didn't know where I was going. I just didn't know.
right.
I just knew I didn't like where I was at.
But it sounded like you knew how to make relationships, though, right?
Yeah,
So,
no,
so,
so
so
that
what
was
I'm hearing
yeah, that's
is,
my gift.
yeah,
That was my gift.
yeah,
I knew how
you
to
know how to
do it.
make relationships when you were trying to figure out how to monetize relationships.
Yeah,
How can, and not even monetize, how can I add value to these relationships, right?
yeah.
I know these people that have money, these people are spending money, all these, how do I add value to these different relationships? And I think that initial curiosity for you was, I want to read these books because I'm in the rooms with the right people, regardless of how they make their money.
Yeah.
I'm in the room with the right people. How can I have that? Well, everybody needs health. Everyone needs fitness. Everyone needs to enhance their mindset. And the things that I'm learning, if you don't know it and I can say these things or teach you these things, then I can monetize these
But here's
things.
the thing. This is how I got into fitness, and that's a great point. That wasn't even my intention. So the reason I got into fitness, I thought about it like last week, and I was like, yo, I always wanted to help people in life. But at the time, I
Mm,
was like, I'm not a life coach. I don't have enough life experience. So how can I help people in life? I said, oh, I can personal train them. Okay, I'm gonna do that.
hmm
So that was like the inclination to do that, right? But here's the
Yeah,
thing: I never liked myself as a trainer. So
right.
I always got my clients from a referral base, right?
hmm
People would just word of mouth. So when I really
Yeah,
started going into the gym, I would be very insecure because there was guys around me that had, a number of clients. They were killing it. I felt insecure because I'm like, these guys are really good. They really know what they're doing. And I was had this imposter
yeah.
syndrome. And then I had
I was going
thought,
to say that.
I was like, what makes me different? I was like, oh, my energy. My energy's different. I have energy like, and people like my energy and who I am. I don't got to train like them. I got to train like me. And then
Exactly.
as I start growing in more, I'm like, hold on. I keep attracting highly successful people. Like my clients
Yep.
had gyms in their home. I've never worked in a gym, bro. I never worked
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
the LA Fit 24-hour Equinox. I always worked by myself, for myself. And it wasn't this idea, I want to be this entrepreneur. I just believe
Yep.
what I could do, and I just ran with the numbers. And I trust myself. And then as I got older, like you said, I dived back into the books. I started meeting people in that space, start helping me, and like, bro, you special. But here's the thing, and I want to go back to basketball, where I think didn't didn't help me, but could have helped me. When I was
Okay.
young, I knew I was good. I didn't think I was great. But my boys, all my
Mm.
homies, all met. You know what I'm saying? 4 scholarships, top 20
Yep,
Nike
yep.
champ, national champions, #1 AAU, like football, like killing it. I was their hype man. I'm the motivator, but I also was the leader of
Always.
my crew. So when we
Yeah.
went out, I got the whip. I'm taking us to Love in DC. We had 20. We playing
Yep.
100 to get, you
Yep.
know.
Yep. Yeah.
And then once I stopped playing ball, I was like, oh, my boys always thought I was good at basketball. I was great, but I never saw myself the way they saw. My boys like, yo, I
hmm
thought you was better than everybody. I just thought you did it because you want to, not. I mean, did it because you can, not because you wanted to. I was like, I
Right.
never had that self concept that I was great, and it's because I didn't get the honorable mentions. I didn't get the accolades. I wasn't all Matt and all, I didn't play the big time AAU. And when I went from there and I got to LA, and I started learning, I started getting some traction, socially and whatever. I was like, oh shit, I was the catch the whole time. I was the catch,
Yeah.
but I didn't see
Yeah.
myself as the catch, so I didn't catch the wave when I was coming up. But everybody knew I was the catch. My boy told me something the other day. He said, bro, when he was little, everybody knew you was a guy, bro. You kind of was
Yeah.
famous before you had fame. I'm like, for real? But mind you, I'm not looking at myself like this.
And that's what I want to ask you. So it's like, why is it so easy for us to see our friends and people that we look up to
Yeah.
or, idolize or mentor us? So why is it so easy for us to identify their gifts, but we spend more time with ourselves than anyone else
Mhm.
and we struggle to identify our gifts?
I think for me is because I was emotionally abandoned as a kid, right?
Mm,
So mine came from an abandonment wound of not getting attention, not getting the love and affection I needed from my parents or, elders the way I wanted. They did the best they could. And so what happened was because of the abandonment wound, I developed this people pleasing energy where I figured everybody out. That's how I got good at building
that
rapport with
makes
people,
sense.
right? because I didn't want people to leave me. So I'm gonna do any and everything to keep them around. Really, people pleasing is nothing but manipulation, bro. You're manipulating people.
Absolutely. Yeah,
for them
absolutely.
not to leave you.
Understanding their pressure points. Exactly.
Right. So I was able to kind of like study people and figure people out to be in their world. Oh, he needs this. She needs that. I'm going to be an asset in this realm so they can. And then I realized at the end of the day, people would use me, take advantage of my kindness and for weakness. And I would get the short end of the stick, but I would never express how I really felt because I didn't want them to leave me. Right.
Exactly.
And so it wasn't until as I got older and I started doing more work and said, oh, look at you, bro. You great at giving. You don't know how to receive. You're afraid to say no.
Right.
You don't know how to create boundaries.
Yep.
And I'm like, and honestly, like from there to, like I said, the personal training to Abercrombie to doing the training, going back to Abercrombie, doing the Uber and doing the club job. It was right after like 2 years at the club. I said, you know what? I'm done. I mastered this. I'm good at it. And I realized I make more money working for myself than I did for someone else. I'm not doing this anymore because I always wrote my numbers down. Everything I made, everything I spent, I was just very
attention to detail.
Yeah, and I was like, hold on. I think 1 year, and it was like low. I think like 1 year I made like 42,000, and then when I worked by myself, I made 68,000. So
no brainer.
So I'm like 26 at the time, 27. I don't know how old I'm in that age.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Why would I work for him?
Yeah.
I make money working for me.
It don't make sense.
And
it don't make sense.
That's when I was like, all right, bet I can do this Uber. I can train. I was also selling water machines, Kangen water, alkaline, like just a hustler. So when the show came, it just was one of them things that just came into my life. And I think it was because of the work I was doing on myself, So
let's talk about that. Yeah. How did the show come? Like, how did you get reached out to? How did you even end up where you were?
Man, serendipity, relationships, God is great. So I went to City College High School. There's a lady friend, a friend of mine, very close. I see her as a sister to this day. She owns Slutty Vegan in Atlanta.
Wow.
Pinky Aisha Cole, right? So Pinky Aisha Cole. When I first came to LA, I ran into her like my third week. I was staying with a friend in West Hollywood for 2 weeks. I ran into her at a spot called the Key Club. And she was in there. She's like, oh, what's up? I'm like, what's up? She's like, you in LA? I'm in LA. I'm like, yeah. She's like, take my number. Let's get up. And she was nothing like it. I swear she was an angel, bro. So 2 weeks after that, she had to go. I met up with her. She had to go to a sorority picnic because she went to Clark. She's a Delta.
Yep.
And she like, yo, you can hold my car. I think you should get on Central Casting and do some casting work. Get on Craigslist. This is how you're going to find your roommate.
Hustler.
So she really like put me in position. So I went to Central Casting. My first ever job in LA was to be a stand-in NBA player on a TV show, Nickelodeon, Zach and Cody. Cool. I was playing Deron. I was making $175 a day for 3 days, and I was playing Deron Williams. Right, so she put the battery in my back. She let me stay at her place for 3 days until her landlord kicked me out. I actually slept in her car for 1 day. She had a green Honda Civic Tenant, and while she was away, she was like, I found a guy for you on Craigslist. His name Mustafa. He was a limo driver. I paid him $500 a month for the year, bro, to sleep on his couch. So that's then. So let's fast forward 7 years. Boom.
Yeah.
Aisha Cole, I think at the time she lived in New York. She had like 2 Jamaican restaurants or whatever. She texted me and she said, I got a friend named Thea Washington who's casting for the Bachelorette, looking for guys out of Baltimore. She literally sends me a screenshot casting image of Facebook. Would you want to do this? I'm like, yeah. Now, mind you, bro, I had just moved. So you talking about sacrifice. I was in a 1-bedroom for 5 years with a roommate, paying $650 a month.
Yeah.
I took that leap, right? And this is why I'm teaching people about energy and trust in the universe. I took the leap. My rent went from $650 to a studio apartment for $1,850. Now, mind you, I'm only doing Uber and training, bro.
Yeah,
you know
3 times.
And I'm scared. My boy, like, bro, you got to do it. But it wasn't until 6 months after that the universe brought Pinky to bring the show into my vibration, into my vortex. Boom. I get with Thea Washington. Thea Washington is from Baltimore as well. Baltimore connection. I do the interview process. They love me. They move me forward. But then it's like crickets for like a few months. I'm like, damn.
Yep.
So now I'm thinking like, I ain't get the job.
I ain't get it, of course.
It's like the end of the year, 2016, because the show was 2017. It
17.
was
Yep.
like December or maybe end of about November. I'm literally, bro, in Uber on my Chrysler Sebring on Wilshire because I lived
Yeah.
on Wilshire and Burnside at the time. And I'm just like, man, I can't. And I'm in an Uber waiting for a ride. I'm like, bro, I can't keep
Yep.
doing this. Like, I'm just stressed 45 hours a
I got to
week.
figure something out. Yeah. I got to
Bro,
figure
I
something
get a
out.
call from a casting agent. Hey, is this Eric Bigger? Yeah, I'm so. I think her name was Jasmine. She's like, yeah, I'm Jasmine from show. We want to bring you in for in-person interview.
Jazzy. It was Jazzy.
Jazzy, yeah.
I know it
Yeah,
was. It
yeah,
was
yeah. It was
Jazzy.
Jazzy, right? I want to bring you in. Bro, like it shifted my energy. I'm like, yes. But mind you, the interview wasn't until like January 13th or something. But the fact that I got the call is like, all right. And then honestly, man, like I did that. I think the interview was maybe the January 13th or the 26th, maybe like a year, 5 years to today or tomorrow. And the show, my first day on the show. And here's the thing, I'm giving you so many details. I don't know why. Maybe it's meant for this. So,
Nah, it's funny. I'm gonna close it out.
my birthday was March 9th. My birthday's March 9th, right?
Yeah.
So that week, I booked a callback audition for Dave and Buster's. Got the job. I haven't booked a commercial for 2 years, right? So tell me why Dave and Buster's, I booked the lead role for. They filmed the same day I had to leave to go on The Bachelorette, March 13th, 2017. You talking about the laws of polarity? I'm like, what's the chances? I book a commercial, but then I go on TV where I'm not going to get paid. All right. That's when that started, man. And then, like, the rest was history. But it was like people only saw and see where I'm at now and all that took place, but they don't know the development phase, the personal development, the journey. And I'm still on the journey, the struggle, the challenges, the changes. And that was how relationships, I tell people, relationships run the world. So after the ball drop, people, when the ball stops, you got to have some relationships that can put you in position in places and spaces where you can evolve.
Hey, you know what's funny? The more and more I hear your story, I'm pretty sure we met before. But like we met in passing. I never actually met you, but we met in passing, right? So I think when you went to your final interview for The Bachelor, I was there.
You do have like a familiar energy.
Bro, I remember Jazzy. I remember we went to the hotel and it was a light-skinned dude and it was me. And we was we was I'm pretty sure it was you and I, and we were the finalists for the Baltimore position for the Bachelor.
Hold up. You got cast for that show too?
Bro, I'm listening to you tell a story and I'm like, I'm pretty sure, because if I'm not mistaken, I think we took the bus over. And I think when we took the bus over to the hotel, I'm pretty sure that's when I saw you, because I was, like typically with that, they don't want you to see the other person. And like, you don't really know who else is going through the casting process and all that stuff. But I remember going upstairs to my hotel room and I think we passed after the interview that you had to go downstairs to the producers.
That was you, bro.
Bro, it has me crying laughing. This has me crying laughing.
Because I'm hearing you talking about, hold on, his energy sounds familiar. Of course, yeah, he's from Baltimore.
Yeah. But when you told the story about Pinky and the casting and it's being like the final person,
because I don't know why I'm telling you the details, Baltimore. Right?
Yeah.
Like, my spirit
but when you
tell
that story, I'm like, hold on, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, so that happened for sure. So like, all right, cool. So let's stay right there. Let's stay right there. So I don't even know if we're allowed to talk about this, but whatever. It's been years, whatever. So do you remember actually going into like the interview process for that show? And like how they, how they have you in a small room, you're talking to like the one producer and it's like real calm. And then they're like, oh, like I have somebody that I want you to meet. So then you walk through this small door and it's like 20 people.
That's what me and
Alon
got into it. That's what me and Alon got into it. And you up front.
No.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's it.
Yo, I'm listening to you tell this story. I'm like, nah, it can't be. Yeah.
And look, when I left that room, I thought I blew it because we got into it. Me and him was like at it, bro. Like, man, I don't believe that. Like,
nah, that's funny. That's
wow.
wild. That's wild. All right.
Makes
Yeah, that threw
sense.
me off a little bit. That's wild.
Because even coming to this interview today, I was like, I had just finished with a client. I was like, oh shit, it's 252. I got, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I got my this my merch, right? It's miracle season, but this is how this started. The show. This show is where
wow.
this brand launched. This is why I got the download. This is why I channel It's
Yeah,
Miracle Season from the
yeah.
show.
So let's talk about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So talk about miracle season. So what's that mean to you?
So I got to tell people this story, and I'll be quick. So they
Yeah, that's
picked
fine.
me to go on after the final rose. So I was picked out of the four guys to meet Rachel Lindsay. It was like abruptly out of nowhere. I wasn't ready to go on TV on that Thursday or on that Monday, and I was in the studios in CBS, and I was in the studio with Louis, the producer, and it kept
Yep,
coming to me like, man, it's miracle season, it's miracle season, it's miracle season. And Louis like, hey, my boy, I mean, I think you should say it. You mean shit,
yeah,
the way you sound. I'm like, really? He's like, man, I would say it. And when I went on stage, you know how you say you want to say something and you think about it, and then you say
yep.
everything you want to think about. Usually, you don't say everything, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. You
said
start delivering.
everything. It felt like I hit a
Mm.
game-winning shot. And I was like, yeah, it's miracle season, right? But I didn't know what I was saying. It was a
Yep,
foreshadow of me falling in love, but a transformation, bro. So it's
yep.
miracle season is a metamorphosis. So on the
Okay.
show, I had to go through certain levels and phases to get to the other side to fall in love. I got
Yep,
into it with guys at the house. I got into it with Rachel Lindsay. I wanted to go home. I wanted to
yep,
quit. I wanted to
yep.
give up. I was stressed. I was depressed. You know, it was tough, bro. But
Yeah,
then
yeah. It's
on the back side of that, I traveled 6 countries. I saw the world. I found myself. I changed things in
yep,
my family. I got more information. And so it's miracle season. It's a metamorphosis. It's a transformation, mind, body, spirit. You have to go through something to get something. And then you get your miracle. It's like a mother, you know, she has a kid. There was babies in the womb for 9 months. Oh, she goes through so many different phases, hormones and changes and body, you know, all that. But on the back end of that, the miracle comes out, which is the baby. So everybody right now, whether it's a job, a new relationship, opportunity, that new car, new house, you're in your miracle season. But it's all about what you're willing to do to get that miracle. You got to go through something.
so when you're working with some of your different
Yeah,
clients and you deliver that it's miracle season to them,
yeah.
how do they normally receive it?
Well, everybody's different, right? So when they receive it from a natural place, it's healing. Like it's like a
Hmm.
mantra. Like they feel good. I'll give you another story. One of my big time LA clients, you know, big time A-lister out here, big time jeweler, 2 years ago, bro. And that's why God is so real. He gets COVID. He's probably one of the first people to really get COVID. And he put him on a ventilator for 11 days. So this is
Are you
around my
serious?
birthday. I think March 6th, I was when I was training him. He went to like a Laker game. And I think like March 11th, he texted me like Eric, I'm not gonna be able to train. Not feeling too good. I'll go to the hospital.
Something feels weird. Yeah.
Yeah, man, we don't know, but COVID is probably just hitting the states. We don't really know. And so time go by, I don't hear from him. But the COVID stuff started coming out. You know what I'm saying? His wife texts me. His wife never texts me. So when she texts me, bro, she's asking me something about the Peloton. They got a Peloton machine in their crib, right? Big old house, whatever. So I already knew she want me to ask about my client, which is Martin.
Yeah.
And I was moved to pray for him. And I
Mm.
pray a lot. I'm a praying man. I'm spiritual. I pray a lot. My prayers are powerful. So as I'm praying, I sent her a voice memo. Bro, as I'm praying, it feels so heavy. Like when I got out of the prayer, I was like, oh, like, damn, what is this? I felt like I was in a
You felt
I
it.
was I
Yeah.
was in a coma. But at the time, I don't know he's
Mm.
in a coma, bro. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
anything. She's not telling me nothing. I found out through some other celebrity person who know that he was one of the first, whatever. Time goes on. My client's in a hospital. He's in a ventilator for 11 days, almost died. And I think he spent like 60 days in the hospital. He comes home. But mind you, I'm praying for him every day on the voicemail. I'm praying, sending him.
Yep.
I'm just
That's
praying,
powerful.
praying. Bro,
That's
his wife
powerful.
sent me a photo of them in the hospital. He lost 30 pounds at the time. And she said, Eric, what would you believe it? Out of all the shirts my husband has, miracle season shirt
Wow.
on.
Wow. Wow.
And I'm like, if this not God, then what is that?
Yep. 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 Yep.
This guy's a multi,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, what are the odds?
Yeah. Yeah. Could wear any shirt in the world.
Yeah, he has a black and white It's Miracle Season T-shirt. And I asked him like a few months ago, I was like, what was it? He said, I knew. He said, no, I was intentional about that. I knew to put that shirt on.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, it's Miracle Season. And he was a
Yeah.
miracle.
Yeah.
He survived it. He's better than ever. He gained all his weight back. He's stronger. He's more
That's amazing.
agile.
That's amazing.
Go through a metamorphosis. He had to go through that. And his story, literally, bro, I don't know if you watched the Soul movie, the Disney Plus
I have
animated
not. Mm-mm.
with Jamie Foxx. Bro, you got to watch it. It's so powerful, but it reminds me of his story. And it was like he was out, I guess, in another round for 11 days.
Yeah.
And he had to figure out if he wanted to stay or leave, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's Miracle Season is the process of transformation, growing, developing, evolving, sitting in your mess, which is a message, sitting in your pain,
Yeah.
which is your gain, being challenged for your change to get your
Mm-hmm.
miracle in your season. So you can get it. It's just not going to happen the way you want it unless you go through some trials, some tribulations, and things that's going to make you stronger and develop your aura, your character, and your spirit to come out on the other side. Like, yo, it's the miracle season. What up?
Well, no, because it feels like an affirmation.
Yo, yeah.
Right. So it's like when I go through my morning affirmations, it feels like something I should be saying in the morning or at night, right? Because when I go through my process on my day-to-day basis, right, the first thing I do is I show gratitude. The next thing I do is I pray. But when I'm going through my process, when I'm really just thinking about my intention that I want to get from the day, I'm constantly believing that today is the day that everything can change. And I think that through the story that you just told us a few minutes ago, right, like in that moment, things can change, as you know, for better or for worse, right? But believing that it's miracle season and being able to go through that adversity, that's when the ball stops bouncing, right? When you have your identity so caught up into a sport, right? Because oftentimes when we play a sport, people across the world, whether you're playing on TV, whether you're playing locally, whether you're playing just for your parents, people have that emotion. People that don't know you, they typically now care about you because what you can do through a sport. And that's why, as we talked about a second ago, so often athletes find themselves having an identity crisis, because how else do you get strangers to take a liking or to even care if you're sick or even care if you feel well, if you're mentally stable? Well, that's what the sport was able to give us. And I think that, as you and I talked about, that's one of the hardest things for people to really understand when they stop playing a sport, or why it's so difficult to transition from playing a sport or being an entertainer, because essentially that's what you are. You're an entertainer. From being an entertainer, that's the hardest part. How do you find that drive? How do you make that pivot? How do you now feel the miracle? Because being able to even do that, continue to still play a sport or entertain, or to have done that, how do you still bask in that miracle that you are a part of?
Yeah, and then the thing is information, and the funny thing is that I always wanted to go pro in ball, bro. Because when I was young, well, not young, but fairly, like in my early 20s, my biggest fear in life was I was never live up to my potential. Like it used to haunt me, bro. Like to a point, because I knew I had this energy about me, and when I was young, I just didn't understand it. So I would fit in because I was afraid to stand out and be outstanding. So I played, let me fit in with everybody because I don't want to feel like I'm better. Or so what I realized is that, oh, I just went pro in life how I would have went pro in ball. I just did it in a different realm. So all I did was accumulate information and experiences from learning and reading and challenging myself, right? As you do in a sport, challenge your muscles, challenge your mind to grow and be better. And it happened for me. And I think what everyone is missing, because here's the thing, and I don't want to knock education because I went to college. I got great grades. I did well. School is not for everybody, right? And so I was telling a friend the other day, I said, look, this is what we got to understand. Where I come from, the young black men, black and brown kids, they look up to the drug lord. He's a millionaire. He's a successful guy or the athlete. But that's someone they can relate, that they can see, the drug lord, right? The kingpin. And then you have this corporate exec who makes millions of dollars as well. But I said, guess what? He might have went to college and got an education, or maybe he comes from a good background. Maybe he just did well in business, right? But I said, the system that they make us believe is like, get education, get your credentials, which is good. But
Hmm.
it's not really about that. Once I started getting to the top around successful people and people who got real wealth and real money and they're not celebrities and they don't have fame, I was like,
Yep.
oh, it's how they think.
Okay.
So the guy in the street and the guy in the corporate sense that's making the same amount of money,
Yeah.
it's not about the education. It's about the
Yeah.
information and how they think and how they see themselves and their mentality. So I'm here to tell people when that ball stops or when the ball drops or when it's over, what's your mentality like? If you know you can go get 30 right now, why can't you go
Yep.
make 30,000 in a month right now?
Hmm.
The same
Hmm.
mentality. You just need information to make that mindset make sense, just like you got the information and expertise of the sport. But we live in a 3D reality where cause and effect, see, do, be, or have. Where in this
Yeah.
space, you got to believe in your mind so you can see in your reality. But most times we got to see it before we believe it. No, you got to believe it first. Then that's how you see it. You can't see it, then believe it. And I think because we don't have the information of the 4D, the 5D, the spiritual realm, and the intangible works you have to do in some sense to manifest, to attract, to get where you want to go, it's scary,
Hmm.
is weary, is uncomfortable.
Yep.
And so we just rather resort to selling drugs or go get a 9 to 5 or do the things that's easy because we can see it.
Yeah.
It's believable.
Yep.
And we don't have enough
Yep.
faith, but some of you guys had all the faith to go overseas with a few dollars and see if you can make it on a team. You had blind
Yep.
faith. So you can do
Yeah.
the same thing in life. You was willing to go to, Russia or Australia or whatever D2 division to play pro
Yep.
ball professionally overseas and figure it out. Why can't you
That's
figure it
just
out?
drive,
That's
though. You're
drive.
not going to
Yeah.
stop. Your drive is saying that, hey, look, this is my only option. So my
Yeah.
back is against the wall. I have to figure this out. When you think about like some of the different ways that we have to figure it out, or some of the different reasons in the space that we put ourselves in when we wake up, what space do you put yourself in when you wake up every day?
Straight space of gratitude, man. Like I do several things before I get out the bed. I got 3 sets of affirmations. I meditate. I pray. Then after that, I tap into the word. I get into Proverbs. I take my vitamins. I go straight to the gym. Then I come back. I got my
Mm,
gratitude list. You know what I'm saying? I get reading. So I got a regiment. Before a person get to see me, I'm doing so much work on my internal being that they don't even know. So
yeah.
now they see
Yep.
like, man, your energy is amazing. I'm like, yeah, I work on this thing every day, brother. It's just
Yeah.
like going to the
Yeah.
gym,
Yeah.
putting up shots. I'm not just
Yeah.
showing
Yeah.
up this way. It's not this miracle
Mhm.
season because I'm saying it. It's because I'm living it. I'm doing the thing. I'm practicing the meditation, and I've been doing this for years.
Right.
I'm constantly taking new certification courses. I'm constantly reading books, writing books, learning, getting new information, put myself around people that are better than me. And I just think you can't be afraid of growing and you can't be afraid to get outside of your comfort zone. I do not like staying the same. I think that's my Achilles
Yeah.
heel. That's my benefit. I want to change, brother.
Yep.
If I feel like, this ain't enough, what I need to do?
Comfortable.
Yeah, I don't like staying the
Yeah.
same. I want to change. So I'm willing to put in the work. Not that it's always easy, not that it's not scary, or I don't have, fear because I do, but I'm jumping because here's the thing. For my space, I'm the blueprint. I don't have a blueprint to
That's
follow.
right.
I'm the
Yep.
trailblazer. So a lot of my stuff is trial and error, learning as I'm going, thinking and believing this is what I should do based on my intuition and information I have available. So I'm taking chances to get those advances, but I don't know, but I know this is what I should do because I
Yep.
don't have the information to make it make sense other than the belief.
So do you have any like books, mentors, quotes that you recommend to people?
Yeah, so I have 2 books out. My first book wrote over the pandemic. A castmate and myself, Chris Randone. It's called Transformation: Change Your Mindset, Change Your Energy, Change Your Life. 28
Wow.
days to reclaim your power. In 4 weeks, is 4 different phases, and we got you in there writing affirmations, writing with your least dominant hand, taking cold showers,
Wow.
dancing, looking yourself in the mirror, talking about you love yourself, asking you real questions. Are you happy? What do you love about yourself? It's a phase. We take you through 4 week phase. So that's the workbook. And then I have a quote book.
Where can we find that?
You can
Where can we
you,
find that
you can get
book?
it on Amazon. Get it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Um, I have the ebook. You can click my link on my bio. And then I have 100 Days of Wisdom, which is a quote book, 100 quotes to live a more inspired life. And these quotes are written from
Mm,
my space and from the time of my life when Instagram was 15 seconds, right? I was doing Motivation Monday, Wisdom Wednesday, and What's Positive Friday. So I took that IP, those words that are captions really, and made them quotes and put them into a book. So I took my
Wow.
100 best videos and made them to words, which are now quotes from me. And you can get that on Amazon and off my link in my bio on Instagram at Eric Bigger, and click my link tree, and you can get that from my website. But yeah, and I also have a course too that's attached to that, 100 Days of Wisdom course, where I'm in the course with each quote every day, breaking it down, giving you my
Wow.
proposition, my perspective, and my interpretation to make it make sense for your understanding. And yeah, man, I just think everything I ever wanted, man, I've gotten. Now it's
I
about taking
agree.
the thing to the next level and scaling it. And that's the thing about
Yep.
law of attraction and manifestation. You can get what you want, but you should be specific on what you want. I
Absolutely.
got the books, I got the
And
podcast, I've been on TV. It's like, oh, I
yep.
did the things. Like, but at what level now?
Yeah, nah, for sure. And I can attest to that, right? I think that, and you and I talked about this a second ago, we say so often that, we see these things or we live these things or we've done these things, but they were given to us. They were
Yeah,
shown to us, right?
right.
God had a plan for us. I think that, as you talked about the way that you prepare for your day, you're extremely intentional
Yeah,
with the way that you prepare for your
for
day.
sure.
The way that you can show up as your best self. You've spent enough time with yourself. You've looked in the mirror. You've been able to be around a lot of people that are quote unquote successful, but you've been able to manipulate your mind and your body to understand what allows you to be the best version of yourself. And I think that if there's any takeaways that I took from this is, man, you're extremely intentional from the moment that you wake up
Yeah,
to the moment that you see your first client or you see your first person, whether it's the person that you expected to see or the person that you see in the morning just getting your coffee. You put yourself in a position to be able to give to them because you're willing to do the work.
yeah,
And when I look at myself and the way that I try to, like, what encourages me to learn or what encourages me to be better is I want to be better and more valuable to my friends and family. So for me, it's like if I can go read this book, if I can go take this class, if I can go take this course, and a person I love and care about comes to me and they say, hey, I have a question. How do I even, maybe it could be my process in going about to find an answer. Maybe I could have the answer, but I'm willing to do that work.
yeah,
I'm willing to be that person that I can be value added, as we talked about, to whomever that we're working with. It doesn't necessarily mean that I may know you.
yeah.
And by knowing you, I could be able to put somebody in a position to do what they need to do in order to elevate and take that next step in their life. So I say that to say, what's the easiest way for people to get in touch with you? What's the easiest way for people to find you?
Well, easiest way is social media. Instagram, Eric Bigger. Twitter, Eric_Bigger. But just DM me. I have a bunch of links in my bio where you can sign up for one-on-one coaching. You can get a book. Also got It's Miracle Season app. You can download the app. Yeah, and I'm available. I'm a people's person. I'm a people's champ. I'm really him. Like I'm really from Baltimore City. I really grew up around dope boys and street guys, and I'm really around corporate execs and coaching some of the uber successful people of the world. Been on TV, and it's like, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm here to share love, light, and authenticity and transparency to help you be you for you, and give you the information that I learned so you can figure out what's the information you need to evolve you. It's
Mm-hmm.
bigger than me. It's miracle season, and I want to see this world a better place because of the impact that you just shared that I do every day on myself internally by being intentional and setting up my day from a spiritual evolution space and just making, everything around me better. So I got to be better. But
That's
yeah,
right.
that's how you can find me. And this was great, man. I really appreciate the opportunity. This is divine. Like this ain't no
Yep.
accident. And it was interesting when I met, Robin, and she told me about your podcast. It was just like it was so the fact that there was your name, and I told her like, yeah, once I stopped playing ball, I had to go pro in life. Like that's something I came up with,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh yeah, this is divine. And then for you to say, I
Yeah.
looked at you, I'm like, yeah, I think you are that guy,
Yeah.
and that's why it's miracle season. Like you can't buy this,
It
bro.
is.
This is divine. So I'm just happy and thankful to know you, man. Keep pushing, keep going, keep living. I'm here. You got my information.
Absolutely.
Let's connect and see how
Absolutely.
we can add value and be assets to one another. And it's love, man. And it's what happens when the ball stops. You just keep growing.
Well, hey, that's what it's about, man. When the ball stops bouncing, I appreciate you,
Yeah.
man. Thanks for jumping on. I'm looking forward to being able to inspire and just share your story with the world.
Amen, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, bro.